System Dynamics Society Business SIG meeting starts shortly. I request if you're planning to participate, could you please come down to the center? Since this is a SIG rather than a lecture, participation is welcome, and given that fact, it would be a lot easier if I could actually see your faces and we weren't hiding in the crowds. In fact, if we could turn up the lights, that would be very helpful. Thank you. And Seth, may I ask how many we have online right now?
Right now we have one viewer. Waiting for the YouTube stream to start here. There we go. It's starting now. Now showing 2 viewers.
Well,
they'll come in.
Well, and for those in the audience that don't quite understand what's going on right now, we're actually live streaming the meeting this year with a full record of it going out onto YouTube so that anyone who couldn't make it to the conference will be able to see the Business SIG initiatives at this time. So on with us is Seth Fortes. He's one of the major project members of the Business SIG team, and Christina Wiles from Leverage Networks. Myself, I'm Matthew Bigman. I'm one of the volunteers at the Business SIG, and the thought is our
co-chair of the Business SIG with Fred House. Or not yet?
I don't think Fred can join us this evening. So I just want to kick off and welcome everyone to our first broadcasted Business SIG annual meeting here at the conference. The format for the meeting will be, we'll explain some of the initiatives that we've been doing in the background with the SIG. We've actually been, for the past couple months, meeting almost every 2 to 3 weeks working on some initiatives. And then we'll be discussing volunteers, election positions, and future plans for the SIG. So thanking everyone for coming for today. I figured I'd get us started. Oh. And here's Fred, who will be coming on shortly. In the meanwhile, I will start by going over the slides for the SIG. And Seth, do I need the screen share with you, or are you set on that end?
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah, please,
sorry about that.
Please do start up the screen share. Otherwise, the remote folks will only be able to see what's left of my head on the screen there.
Oh, I said, do I need to start the screen share?
Yes, please do.
Okay. And Fred seems to be going through a tunnel at this moment. All right. So, welcome to the Business SIG, this year being transmitted live. My name is, as I said before, Matthew Bigman, and we're just going to get started. As you know, the purpose of the Business SIG is better understanding of the market for SD and ST, and promoting and supporting the wider adoption of SD, specifically among the business community. Our goal here is to build up the interconnections between practitioners and share a knowledge base among us, and we want to help create jobs at all levels, support champions who are looking to market SD within their own organization, expand our active practitioner base and our society membership base, and provide clear communication channels for recognizing the achievements of SD practitioners across all business sectors. And to that end, we've been working on a number of initiatives. So I'm just going to go ahead and list the initiatives, and then we'll open up the floor for discussion. Under the title of each initiative, to save my lungs and my voice, I am not going to be reading out each individual that's currently contributing to the initiative. But if you want to see your name up there at some point, if you see something that interests you, please come to me, or we'll have contact information for Seth Fortes, who is our main project coordinator, about something that you're interested in. The thing is that a lot of our projects are very scalable, and the more hands on deck we have, the faster some of them will be going. So starting off, the System Dynamics Exchange is a new initiative that we're working on this year. I've heard it described as essentially a match.com for practitioners, but it's a lot more than that. We're going to be focusing on creating a collaborative file exchange where you can share models, molecules, and in all types of different formats. We're going to have user groups for software tools in a centralized place. So instead of having one user group in Yahoo groups and one user group on LinkedIn, we're going to put all those user groups together. That way you can really find those experts in the subject matter that you're looking for. We're going to be listing active training programs worldwide, creating a directory of corporations using SD, offering SD, or even just employing people who use SD occasionally, and do a much better improved version of the current career boards and other resources that are available on the site. Now, the benefits behind doing this entire process are that we're going to be reinforcing and promoting the long-term learning process, and we're providing a showcase where practitioners can share information and collaborate on their resources. We're going to hopefully use this as a centralized location where we can provide insights into the current market demand for SD and help organizations start building qualified teams from incoming graduates and experienced practitioners. And lastly, we think that this is going to help people reduce the time it takes to deliver results, because they're going to be able to put together project teams, look at previous work, and start adapting models together. Now, the data sources that we're using to build this database are going to be coming from the SIGs and chapters, from our corporate member category, which we'll be getting to later, from new alumni surveys of students exposed to SD in various programs and full-time degrees, from practitioner surveys, which we hope to follow up on Ken Cooper's previous work, and just a new submission system. We're also going to be trying to cultivate a relationship with the software vendors to get a bit more corporate data, and we'll be trying to build something with them as a whole so that we can share the data as a group and really start getting a feel for who's doing SD, what members are out there, and who's working on it. And Fred or Seth, do you have anything to add at this time?
Not at my end, Matt. Thanks very much.
No, that's an excellent exposition there.
All right, then we're going to go on to our...
I just want to say it's really important to coordinate with Peter Hoffman in any survey work, because he's thinking about doing the same thing.
And we are planning to do that at this time. And Seth, did you pick that up on your end?
No, if you could repeat the question, that came in a little garbled.
All right, then I will repeat the question or comment. It's that it's important, and you can keep that out there in case we have other comments. It was pointed out that it's important to coordinate with Peter Hoffman on this, as there's some initiatives from the System Dynamics Society that overlap with many of our SDX efforts. And we have been in contact with Ed Anderson, the current president, on maintaining closer relationships with the Business SIG and working together to make sure that we're not doing overlapping work or that we're not sending out two sets of surveys, because we don't want to drown our people in surveys, of course. So I just wanted to inform everyone that progress has been made on these projects. We've done some preliminary investigations. We've been seeking input from various organizations, and that we're making forward progress, including coordinating society. And I think that's a very important thing. Is at these SIG meetings, often we get some initiatives that don't quite go anywhere 6 months later. But as you'll be seeing through our presentations, the Business SIG has been working at this stuff for the past couple months. So we're already making progress, and we're really happy to get other people on board so that we can accelerate this process. As you can see, we're looking for some help on distributing and locating targets for survey and for identifying SD program alumni. If you're interested in doing that, you can reach out to any member of the Business SIG project teams, including myself, and that we're really looking forward to an opportunity to work with everyone. Okay, moving on. If Kim Kim was asking about the reach out to alumni. One of our preliminary survey efforts has started going out to alumni. And I can say the response rate on that's not very significant yet.
Right. The question was going to be that we really need to find out what has happened to our alumni. And I think, like Bob's question about coordinating with Peter Hoffman on the marketing research amongst non-society members, I think we need a coordinated, maybe high-energy plan from the program, from the institutions that offer the program, to really call for that information from their alumni database, from their alumni. And it was done successfully some years ago by MATLAB. They went out to their alumni, they got a strong response, and they got some really useful information from it. So if you're having trouble getting a good response from, I don't know how you're doing this, but if you're having trouble getting that kind of quality response, then maybe talk to. And the only contact I can think you should start with is Jürgen Strohhacker, because I think he knows what we've done, if he didn't do it.
So to repeat what Kim said to the audience at home, and I think as a future reference, if it's going to be a long comment, just come up here. Unfortunately, we're still working out the technical limitations of this process.
We actually did catch that, Matthew, so no need to repeat. Thank you.
Oh, okay then. Thank you, Seth. So, moving on, since we have a limited amount of time, and this is the plenary room, which means we're going to be kicked out, guaranteed. Another project we're working on is a revision of cases.systemdynamics.org, largely led by the efforts of Kim Warren, who has been extremely helpful in the process in helping us build up a database that's going to be very practitioner-supported and demonstrate the breadth and scale of SD use. And we also have to thank Etienne Roulette and Seth Cordes on this issue. And the benefits here is we're going to be able to share our work publicly in a less formal venue, something that's focused mostly on the practitioners or those with a basic SD understanding. And we're really hoping that this is going to reinforce peer-to-peer training, help maintain interest from part-time users, and really help promote SD and ST outside of academia. Now, we've got some action items in the process, and right now we are working to refresh the website, rework the submissions template. We're going to update the database to be more searchable and have more power so that you can find cases that are appropriate for your cause, your company, or your target audience. And we're going to reformat the content with ST practitioners and informed decision makers as the target audience. This is not necessarily for rookies, but this is for, and I don't know, Seth, can you still hear me?
Yeah, still loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, just checking. It's a balance between feedback on this end. We also want the aforementioned SDX database. We want to link cases to that. That way, if you know someone who wants to go deeper or you want to go deeper than just the write-up, I know personally, until I actually get to play around with the model, I don't really feel like I understand it. And finally, we're working on supporting search by region. Given our efforts in the Asian Pacific area, this is really relevant to making sure that we can help SD grow and expand around the world. Now, next is stories.systemdynamics.org. It's coming soon, and what this is it's less focused on practitioners, and this is more of a 2 to 3 page marketing article. It's written for problem owners and prospective clients. And it's focused on demonstrating how SD can be used to address problems and opportunities in business and non-academic sectors. And the real goal here is to produce a product that highlights demonstratable results. And when I say demonstratable results, I mean cases that we have solid numbers for, solid companies, like actual company names, not company A, company B, and information that we can share with the world at large of how SD has been used. And the goal here is to produce something that someone who's completely has no understanding of SD can still look at this and say, this is an interesting methodology. I would like to learn more, or I would like to potentially use it because I have a similar problem. So some of our preliminary cases are credit card strategy planning. We've seen one case come across our desk, which is about $1 billion savings in dialysis treatment. the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's decision to focus on polio eradication instead of containment. And we have cases like HVAC sales with Refrigeration Sales Corp out in the Ohio area, which saw a huge competitive advantage thanks to their long-term planning models grounded in system dynamics. The benefits here, of course, is that prospective clients and colleagues can learn more about how SD is being actively used in business, but learn it from a perspective that isn't too burdened down in jargon or requires a great amount of prior SD knowledge. I mean, one of our test factors is I send these things out to my father, who has rolled his eyes every time I've tried to explain to him what I do for a living. And I've said, does this make sense? Would this be something you'd want to see at your company? And for the first time, he's actually said yes. So that's a pretty good test bed as far as I'm considered. And more importantly is that this is a marketing tool. You can share the link on your business cards for clients who've never seen SD before. If you're a champion at your company, you can use this as an opportunity to sell SD internally. And it's a good training opportunity, especially for students and our volunteer editors who have a chance to write up SD for a non-SD audience and learn those important self-promotion skills they don't necessarily get in their degree programs, but have a chance to share in the future. We're also providing authors and editors and translators byline attrition, and that helps them get their name out into the field more. And we're especially proud of our efforts to get translators, because this will help broaden our market if we show some of these examples outside of English. And once again, this is an area where we're looking for volunteers in, much like everything we're doing. And here right now, the BSIG is providing writers. We have a copy editor who's looking at some of our work, graphical artists and quality control and translators in that centralized website. But what we're really looking for is details. We need practitioners to come to us with their cases, especially non-US practitioners or practitioners in fields that are underrepresented with our initial batch of cases. The fact of the matter is, this is only as good as we get help on. So we're looking for solid quotes. We're looking for permission to use logos from the clients in the article and to add them to our list of SD consumers. We're looking for solid numbers that say, we were making X amount of dollars before, and now we're making Y more. And the opportunity here is to really provide something that people can sink their teeth into. Even if they don't understand the SD at first, they can go, you know what? I really want to solve a similar problem at my company. Can you come in and do some SD? And hopefully from there, we can get them hooked, get them a taste, and show them what we can really do. So as I said before, we've got about 4 stories in progress in production, with 4 to 6 nearing completion, and the website should be coming online soon, so I would add that to your bookmarks and look for it. Cross-posting is going to be done with Leverage Networks, IC Systems, AnyLogic, and Ventana, so we're going to help build up our initial database very quickly, and then we're looking to post about every 2 to 3 weeks a new case. That way this is something people can come back and visit on a regular basis. And as I said before, we're really looking for additional volunteers on this project and all of our projects. We're looking for writers, editors, and perhaps most important, leads. And Kareem's got something to add?
Yeah, Bob and I talked about this other day. We have an archive of success stories that you guys can feel free to mine through, and I can tell you where that is. There's quite a few of them.
All right, thank you very much. I'd be happy to work on that in the database. And as we share this information and cross-link more, when people go to look for SD information, they don't end up in isolation. They see that this is a large and vibrant community, and that helps our overall picture, once again reinforcing the idea of marketing. And I'm going to shift it back to Rafat and trade off with him as we get into our plans for further conference participation. This is the idea that we really want to, because you know more about this than I do.
This is an effort that is being carried out by Fred Kautz and Ed Anderson. Can you guys hear me? And there are candidate conferences, Informed, WinterSim, ACM, IEEE, and the benefit from attending these conferences is these are well attended by problem owners and also members of related fields. and participation would help the visibility of SD, and they are also eager for us to participate. Volunteers are needed to submit strong SD papers, create and lead SD sessions there, and attend the conferences, of course. And the contact person here is Seth Cordes. And if Seth or Fred have any comments on this, please feel free to
Yeah, this is Fred. One thing I might want to add here is that the Winter Sim conference, which is held annually, usually in December, is based on a consortium of at least 6 other professional societies, and there's really no reason, in my view, that our society couldn't be a member of that consortium. And you know, if you're actively participating in this or other conferences, you know, I think the path that we would normally take is to join as a society, but also then offer to host and create sessions that that would be focused on SD applications. And this is the way most engineering societies work in joint conference settings. Is you take ownership of sessions, you chair those sessions, and review the papers that are inbound for those. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to get some greater exposure in the broader simulation community. And you probably are aware, I'm sure, of a number of authors from the SD community who already participate in some of these conferences, including Winter Sim. So we're just trying to make it a more formal linkage, and we're looking for suggestions on other conferences, other consortia, or even just bilateral agreements with other societies where we could participate in their conferences.
Thank you, Fred. The corporate member category, and I'm probably afraid that you will also comment about that, is that the requirements here in the SIG is open to any organization with interest in supporting or using SD. The benefits are that this would provide insight regarding companies actively in using SD, and also identifies corporate champion. Yeah, so the task here is to conduct preliminary investigation, and this is completed. Circulate the examples about professional societies. This is also done, and the draft proposal was submitted to the society and currently under review. The other initiative is the strategic model planning model, and you can also read the names. And here we're looking for leverage to extend the prior work done by Kim Warren, George Richardson, Matthew Bigman, and a little map done for the initiatives of the Business SIG by Rafat, that's me. And in order to help prioritize our Business SIG efforts and initiatives. The volunteers needed here is to migrate the model to SysData to better support collaborative development and incorporate findings from existing models where appropriate, and also collect data to populate the model.
And on that point, as a follow-up, we know that the System Dynamics Society itself is also looking towards a strategic planning model. I was actually sitting in on the strategy planning meeting a few days ago. So we're going to be working to coordinate them and seeing if we're overlapping or if we want to try to build a more business focused model. So just to see if we can make sure that we're putting our resources in the right place. So there'll be some tweaking in this category if anyone's interested in helping out.
At this point, I'd like to hand it over back to Matt. But before that, I'd like to thank the volunteers so far working with us, and special thanks to Matthew Bigman and Seth Cordes, who spent a great deal of time and effort in order to promote all these initiatives and also prepare for this meeting. So, Seth, take it away.
So to continue what we've been discussing is what you've seen so far are some of the initiatives we've made forward progress on. but we've got some more in the pipeline that we're looking for additional help and resources on. One thing is, to a certain degree, we want to reach out to the fellow SIGs and chapters, looking towards both leads for success stories and cases, but also we're thinking about creating an application award nominee. Much like we have awards for posters, we want to see someone who has created a project but also applied it, but also had publicized or recorded the fact that they've applied it in such a manner that it helps advance the field as a whole. So this is still a hypothetical area we're looking into just lightly, and we'd love to hear some feedback from the audience or some volunteers who would like to advance it. And Seth, do you have anything else to add on this topic?
No, well said.
All right. Next is that we're doing some work to support the next International System Dynamics Conference, the 2015 one in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And we're coordinating with the conference chairman, our current president, president-elect, and Roberta Spencer. Sorry, trying to balance all these microphones and sound systems. It's a learning process, but we'll get this right at some point. And working closer with the other SIGs and chapters to really generate a tighter community. And what we really want to focus on is providing support for practitioner workshops, engaging ones that really help people out, paper review, and session development and leadership resources. Fred or Seth, do you have anything to add to this?
Not at this time, Matt.
Nothing from here.
Great summary. Thank you.
So we have two choices right now. Given the fact we've got about 20 minutes in this room, we do need to be very much on time since we are taking up the plenary room. At some point, we need to budget some time for elections, but at this point, I would like to also open up the floor towards anyone who's willing to volunteer or anyone who's got additional ideas or facts that they want to contribute at this moment to the SIG. And I do ask people come down to the floor for this one just because this is a SIG, it's not a plenary or a parallel. We're supposed to be able to talk about this as a group and get some back and forth going on.
Yes, my question is there a goal to introduce system dynamics into a local authority public sector? Is there a model that's been developed to allow insights on how to do that effectively in a short period of time?
Seth, Fred, let me know, should I repeat that question?
Yes, if you can repeat that, please.
Okay, so the question is, has there been a model or a technique developed by the Business SIG or any other community that we know of to help introduce system dynamics to public figures in the most efficient way possible?
Local authority.
Local authorities.
Throughout that organization.
All right, so local authority throughout an organization as efficiently as possible.
I think, this is Fred, I think the short answer is no, but there has been some discussion about this. I think perhaps Chris Weil, who's online, might have some comments you might want to make about this, but it reminds me a little bit of the approach I think that was taken with Rethink Health in terms of introducing SD through a very specific focused municipal or community-based initiative. But it's an important topic, and I'm glad somebody brought this up because it's part of, I think, the broader marketing needs of the society, and I think Peter Hoffman and others would certainly be contributing to this. But Chris, did you want to have any comments on this one in terms of leverage networks or other initiatives?
Looking forward, we would definitely be interested at Leverage Networks in identifying and holding up so everyone can have access to and see the exemplars. But I know just from 20 years of practice in the field that it's been done, but it's not a generic kind of presentation. When I know that there's some people nearer to you in the audience, hopefully with you, Rebecca Niles, Rachel, I'm going to mess up her last name, from Georgia Health Policy Council, and also Chris Soderquist have experience with the smaller groups of local officials in the Rethink Health case, and also in front of legislatures in Georgia. Chris and Rachel have been involved with that. In each case, though, I believe it's really tailored to the issues that those local politicians are thinking about at that point in time. So it's really a, you know, sort of, it's just best practice with regard to system dynamics and making it connect with your audience as stakeholders.
There was a parallel session given by somebody who had some significant success on influencing senators and state legislatures to help them make their minds up about difficult questions about healthcare funding, education funding, and so on. We can find it in the proceedings, but it's not. I think it's not model-based. It's process-based.
There's also work that I was part of myself over the last several years or prior to this with the Federal Aviation Administration and Batana's long-running work with them. Specifically, we did some interface development that was targeted towards those with little or no SD knowledge to demonstrate the insights that came out of the Federal Aviation National Airspace Simulator.
Are there any other additional issues or insights that anyone would like to bring up at the Business SIG meeting at this time? Okay, then I'll take a minute and say something. And a very important thing here is that so far this has been done with a fairly small team of core volunteers, and we've made some major progress so far. But as many of us in the SD field know, when it comes to volunteer work, it's very easy to see your core people burn out or end up taking on too much work, and eventually these initiatives that are making progress just kind of fall apart. So I really wanted to take this moment to remind people, if you know someone interested in these efforts or you're interested in yourself, please, please, please reach out to myself or staff, or I can even take your name right now and I'll have an email to you within 2 weeks. I almost guarantee it. But we could definitely use more hands and bodies. Our work design so far has been very scalable, and the issue has always just been man hours versus the will to do it. So if you're interested in helping out the SIG, please contact us. There's plenty of jobs open, whether you want to just do some light writing, a deep analysis, marketing, or research design, or even if you just want to be a representative at a conference. And if we have nothing else to add, I think we'll move on to, given our time limits, we have some time to talk about elections, and then we'll double back and just go back to some of the issues we've talked about forward, check to see if we have any initial volunteers. So Rafat and Fred, if one of you two could lead us through the election process. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure what it entails.
Since Rafat's on site, it might be better for him to start off, but this is very simple, really. We'll take nominations from the floor, and there are two positions to be filled as co-leaders, and we're also contemplating some other more formal positions within the SIG, but that's not for this year, that's for next year. So Rafat, since you're on site, would you like to just broker this for the moment?
Okay. Okay. So if there are any nominees nominating themselves for these two positions, the chair and co-chair, please raise your hand so we can see you.
I nominate Fred Ponce.
Agree.
And we have a second from Kim Warren.
Okay. Anybody has an objection?
Say no.
I'd like to nominate Rafat Zaini as co-chair to repeat. He's been really a great partner on this initiative, as have Matt, Seth, and Chris, and a number of others, all of whom I would like to see in sort of more formal roles going forward. But we'll come to that. You'll hear about it. Thanks.
Do we have any additional nominations besides Fred and Rafat? All right, at this time, I think we can put it to a vote, unless you guys just want to switch the CEO between chair and chair.
Okay. So whoever is in favor says yes.
Aye.
Aye.
And whoever is not in favor says nay. It's like a Houston.
And now that the scary jobs are out of the way, as I said before, we are looking for part-time volunteer efforts. So at this time, is there anyone who would be interested in volunteering some of their time and their energy on some of our projects? We have one from I use names, you know. So we have Philip Price, and which projects are you interested in helping with? No, not sure is good. And then, okay, this is not going to work as well as I thought. I think we're just going to have to hand around the pen and paper unless anyone's got a specific project they would like to be a particular champion on, something that they very near and dear to their heart.
Matt, this is Fred. One suggestion here, I think, just to make things sort of ongoing, is we could post a sign-up board basically off of the Business SIG website and collect inputs that way on a rolling basis.
All right, so that would probably be our best option, especially, well, we're actually doing really good on time. And on that note, I would also like to point out we have sheets in the front of potential positions, jobs, and tasks we're working on. If you know someone who would love to do one of these things, please take extra and share them. All this information is available on the website. If you know anyone who's got a success story or case study, Leverage Network has had a little collection basket out on their table for a while. I brought it up here if anyone wants to write it down. We're just looking for preliminary contact information to lead so that we can reach out to them. And at this time, I think we're going to, for about 5 minutes, open the floor back up to general discussion to see if there's anything else anyone wanted to add. And I'm putting Kim back on.
Yeah, this is an information item, really. Not everyone may know that during the 3 days at the end of the week before the conference, there was a summer school organised by Eric Kraut here at Delft in his department. About 80 people showed up for that summer school, and they had classes from various people: Andy Ford, John Moorcroft, Yaron Barlas, quite a few folk. And it was a very wide mix of people who showed up, right from kind of almost beginners up to quite experienced PhD folk and some consultants. And there's a bit of kind of informal discussion going on about whether we ought to build on that in some way and try and see if there is something even more effective that we could do with it. So one possibility is that we consider turning it into a proper boot camp, which we operate in the few days before the conference each year, possibly splitting it between interest streams for those more interested in an academic path and those, and the reason I bring it up here, a separate path more interesting to those who have a kind of practitioner orientation. It's not exclusively business oriented, but it certainly would be practitioner oriented. And master's students could decide whether they're more likely to go down the academic path or the practitioner path and choose whichever they like. So, as I say, it's very, very early thoughts. but it's a possible service to members of the SIG.
Thank you, Ken. Does anyone else have any items to bring to the table right now? In that case, I've got yet another call for volunteerism. I know so many people have other SIGs and interests on their tags. And one thing we're really looking for is people who are active in some of the other SIGs to act as bridges between our efforts and their efforts so that we can build closer ties between the SIGs and chapters. So if you yourself are, say, active in the German chapter, yes, I'm looking at you, Dominic, and want to help us build closer ties so that we can make sure that our outreach efforts are helping everyone in the various communities, please come see me or send Seth or myself an email or go to the sign-up sheet afterwards. That way we can continue moving this initiative forward. All right, I think that covers all of our business items, and we do need to be out here relatively on time. So let's bring up something a little bit happier. I'm going to turn the floor back to the pot.
So we have seen that there was a host of competition in the society, and the Business SIG was also responsible for judging the business posters this year. And we're having a winner. We would like to announce him now. I don't know if he's here, but the winner is Warren Farr for his poster, Implications of MBA Durability for Providers of Masters in Business Administration degrees. So congratulations to Warren. Thank you, everybody. There is a slide. Oh, how to join the Business SIG. Yeah, that's a very important slide.
And I don't want to get these two microphones near each other if I can avoid it, but so as we said before, we have multiple opportunities to join the Business SIG, including for non-members of the System Dynamics Society. So if you know any champions out there or people who want help being champions, please throw them our way. I would love to indoctrinate them the way I've been indoctrinated to the Business SIG. Actually, I do most of the indoctrinating. I'm a little bit scary like that, but that's besides the point. So as you can see, we've got two sign-up venues for both SDS members and non-members. And you can always reach out to us via email. Our website has just been updated. So yes, we have an updated SIG website. It's terrifyingly awesome, I know. And our LinkedIn group is fairly active. And this is the place to go to see future updates, other web candidate meetings, and other efforts going on in the Business SIG. So thank you. And as a reminder, if you want to share today's session with anyone who did not make it, it will be available on our YouTube channel. And these slides will be posted online so that you can find them and all this information and more and share it with others. So thank you, everyone, for your time today.
And the sheets are here if somebody's interested. Take more.
All right, Seth, I think I will be closing the call on this end unless you or Fred have anything to add.
No, thank you for all your efforts there. Really did appreciate you making the time that we could participate remotely. We did have 6 viewers on the call today, and we'll get the stats published in terms of viewership for the call overall. Thank you again. All
right, then we'll be ending this 32nd annual meeting of the Business SIG, or meeting at the 32nd System Dynamics Society.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.